stepped off of a piece of machinery and landed on 40 pounds of homemade explosive.
I had 30 operations to try and salvage my leg, and in the end it didn't work.
It was just barely big enough to penetrate the truck. It just happened to be directly under my left leg.
Where I was expecting to wake up with 4 stitches in my eyebrow, I woke up with this huge scar, tubes coming out of my head everywhere, wires all over the place.
I was in the turret, so I basically just shot out of the air, and then I landed back on the Humvee, and my staff sergeant, who was in the vehicle behind me, ran up and grabbed me and drug me off.
Welcome everyone to the annual Gathering of Heroes, otherwise known as the Simpson Cup. This year, the revered links of Royal Lytham and St Anne's in northwest England is the terrific venue for a contest which pits teams from the USA and Great Britain, the cup holders.
This is not only a competition amongst countrymen, these are some of the best adaptive golfers in the country. The qualifier to make the Simpson Cup team is not easy.
This is such a special event. To play this with my friends and be in a competition with friends as well, it's just a different feeling, and it's different. It means a lot more being a military sort of event.
It's a great sense of pride when when you're standing after that qualifier and they announce you as the winner of that qualifier and that you'll be representing Team USA at the Simpson Cup. You know, it's a battle, but it's not quite the battle that, we were injured at.
I've got a massive competitive character. I've got to play for that competitive edge, and to compete against the Yanks, it just gives that extra bite, I think. So yeah, it's the pinnacle of what we want to get into.
For these ex-servicemen, involvement in golf and the benefit it brings, that's simply priceless in the adjustment process.
It's a whole new life that you're trying to deal with, right? Everything that you once found maybe easy or was just a normal routine in life is now a new challenge. So golf, physically, you're out on the different terrains, you're walking through grass, up hills, down steps, into bunkers. So physically, it was a great test to get used to that prosthetic.
For me, the game of golf, as far as recovery goes, it's both a physical and a mental aspect to it. Because at home, playing alone, when I'm out on the course and there's nothing around me, I'm the only one in the world, that's what it feels like. So there's no stressors, there's no push, there's no worrying about anything. All I have to worry about is the next shot and the next swing.
You have days where you're maybe angry and you can take it out on that little white ball and hit it as hard as you can, and there's not much it can do about it, but maybe laugh at you when you miss one.
I was an avid motocross rider, I was a footballer, very sporty, and I'd lost all that, and obviously I'd lost my job in the military, so I didn't know what to do with my life, and golf gave me that sort of social circle back. We were all in the same boat with injuries. We're all trying to get to the same purpose and same meaning of what golf was about. So yeah, the on-course literally saved my life in that aspect.
The founder of the Simpson Cup and the On-Course Foundation, John Simpson MBE, explains the far-reaching, life-changing positives that his brainchild continues to generate.
10 years ago we were here, and Paul Swain was playing, who's got one arm. There was a young boy who had a bad injury and lost his arm and his leg. And he saw Paul, and Paul showed him the best way to hit it with one arm. And he just arrived today, and I think he's playing off 7. What better but to have one of these guys tell them, you can play this game, come on, let's do it.
The charity is amazing, the way it helps everyone, because it's not just playing golf, it also gives the younger lads who maybe not take to golf, gives them prospects as a job in the golf industry.
Thinking about my own recovery and my golf game simultaneously and applying golf to my day-to-day life. So if I were to say that On-Course Foundation, what role, it saved my life.
This is a tournament full of bonds and empathy, but also, as you might expect, fierce competition.
As soon as that first tee shot's hit, that's it. We're no longer friends, we're enemies in context of golf. So yeah, we want to beat them as well as much as they want to beat us. So, but as soon as that last putt's dropped, it's all back to friends, and you know they're like family. So yeah, it's pretty special.
You have the same alpha personality amongst all 26 guys, so all 26 guys want to win, but the more important part is the camaraderie, the bonding, the hanging out after the round's done, smoking and joking just like we used to when we were in the military.
That camaraderie, I would say, is the most important for me, but yeah, we're gonna fight like hell to try to win it.
The coveted Simpson Cup, claimed convincingly last year by the visiting GB team at Baltusrol. But can they repeat? A fast start in the 6 4-ball matches on day 1 would greatly help. But Warren Humphries, which side seized early command as the action got underway around a course that's played host to the Open Championship on 11 occasions?
Well, Phil, it's the USA who got off to an absolutely cracking start. Jacob Nelson playing with this man, Jerome Taylor, make it 5 holes, 1 on the spin, thanks to that fabulous bunker shot at the 10th to go 6 up on Bishop and O'Reilly. Dovetailing well then, Nelson sinks this winning putt on the 13th for a 6-5 victory.
Well done. Lead side. Well done. Well done, mate.
And it continued well for the USA because it was this birdie putt by Eli Villanueva on the 11th which turned it around for the USA as he and Young beat Thapper and Mike Brown 2-1, winning 4 of their last 7 holes. USA going well.
You know, it was a similar story in match 3 as the Floridian pairing of Justin Lin and Shauna Snyder, the only lady player on either side, defeated David Hughes and Lee Jenkins, thanks to shots of this ilk on the 5th. Handshakes arrived on the penultimate green, the USA flying. As for match 4, how's this from Raju Midhan of the Queen's Own Gurkha Logistics Regiment on the opening hole? Golfing logistics at its finest. Midhan and partner Sam Stoddart were all square at the turn before Chad Pfeiffer turned on the style at the 10th. The hole went stateside, and on the always testing 14th, the man from Idaho, successful in 10 of his 12 matches in the Simpson Cup since his debut in 2012, again excelled. In the end, Pfeiffer and Cole Polk ran out comfortable 4-2 winners.
In match 5, GB were always in control right from the start, as Chris Patterson won the opening hole with this delightful chip for his 3. And despite Justin Castellanos and Casey Mitchell bouncing back, winning the next for the USA, this confidently holed birdie putt at the 5th by Neil Flynn saw GB 2 up and a lead they wouldn't relinquish, and going on to win their match on the 17th, 2-1.
Ice duly broken. Mark Litherland, a 3 handicapper making his first appearance in the event, did his bit to push GB in front in the closing 4-ball. How about that? His partner, Andy Stevens, at 61, the home team's oldest player, also contributed to the 4-ball damage limitation exercise as they beat Alex Happer and Jesse Williamson 2-1. Even so, the American captain was delighted with the overall day 1 outcome.
The team came out, played well, played the conditions well, really lifted each other up after some difficult holes, grounded out. We had some matches where they came back from being down. Initially it looked like a sea of blue out there, and they came back and turned the script and turned it into the Red Sea. It was very pleasing.
The opening day ended with the USA enjoying a 4-2 advantage, but with 13 singles still to contest, the final result remains wide open. who will ride to glory on the Lancashire coast at Royal Lytham and St Anne's as the 11th staging of the Simpson Cup builds to a climax. Find out after the break. For the second time, Royal Lytham and St Anne's is welcoming the Simpson Cup, a feel-good tournament that inspires admiration from one of its greatest supporters, philanthropist Duncan Sinclair.
The spirit with which they tackle all of life is such an example to all of us that it's a pleasure to be amongst them, and it's a pleasure to be able to give a bit of help.
First played at TPC Sawgrass in 2012, this event continues to grow. Overall, the series is all square at 5-5, so this is the tiebreaker, and with a 4-2 lead after the opening day 4 balls, American captain Martin Carraway is on course to lift the trophy. But as Nick Kimmel against Kushal Limbu launches the 13 singles, GB are primed for a fight back. So Warren, how did the lead-off match turn out?
Well, it would be important for this man, Nick Kimmel, the triple amputee, for the USA to get them off to a decent start. And he was doing well through 9, up at his match against Kushu Limbu. But Limbu, the 41-year-old from Kent, struck back on the back 9, winning 5 holes in a row, thanks to gorgeous little chip shots like this. Not easy to do in tricky, tough conditions. And he went on to win the match 4-2 for GB. Despite being 2 down early on against Texan Jacob Nelson, the smooth-swinging man from Canterbury and Kent, 50-year-old Tim O'Reilly, with beautifully crafted shots like this, won 6 holes from the 6 to run out a comfortable 5-4 win for GB.
Match 3, meanwhile, saw Wiltshire's Sam Stoddart facing North Carolina's Alex Happer. It boiled down to the 18th and this putt. Happer, happy to edge the point, 1 up. That was the definition of tight. Unlike match 4 between Lee Jenkins and a consistent star for the USA over the years, Chad Pfeiffer, who grabbed control early. What a crisply struck approach. Pfeiffer sprinted 3 up through 4 and by the turn was dominating. Also looking after this fine course. They shook hands out in the country, with Pfeiffer impressively playing off a 0.7 handicap, prevailing in the end 6-4. Indeed, the USA won 2 of the following 3 matches to move 8-5 ahead. GB badly need to counter Warren.
Yes, and 56-year-old Neil Flynn from Derbyshire might just be more used to the UK's inclement weather conditions than his counterpart Justin Lin from Florida. Although a tight match through 9 holes, it was Flynn who beat the weather and Lynn by 4-2. 9 handicapper Andy Stevens from Manchester was 4 up after 13 against Justin Castellanos when he produced this magnificent approach shot to the 14th to close out his match in some style, 5-4. Absolutely brilliant playing.
4 down, teeing off on the short par 3 9th. Ian Bishop, a former Marine from Southampton, initiated his stubborn rally against Jesse Williamson. Indeed, by the 14th, Williamson was clinging on, only one up. Meanwhile, on the 15th, Charles Young Jr. proved spectacular from sand. The Maryland resident back all square with Scot, Chris Patterson. That could turn out to be a pivotal contest as the USA lead has shrunk to only 8-7. With 4 singles left on the course, this could easily go to the wire. Here's Patterson looking for some more greenside magic on the 16th.
And a nice lie has too, just in the first cut here. Like so many of the players playing out here today, beautiful shot from the edge of the green. That's a deft touch.
Over on 14, it's Cole Polk, 1 down to Mike Brown. He's receiving 1 shot per hole in this match. Brown off scratch. And Polk looking like a scratch golfer there. Excellent. These conditions are very demanding.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy for the players. Keep feeling their fingers. Squally weather. Now Young needs this for a part. Put pressure on Patterson and he can't quite make it. And this is where the nerves start to jingle and jangle.
The 16th, the hole where Seve Ballesteros from the car park was so heroic in 1979 at the Open. What about an heroic putt from Patterson? Oh, that was to win the hole.
Yeah, be bitterly disappointed after such a good chip shot too.
The match remains all square.
Polk now on the 14th. Par putt. Match against Mike Brown.
Ian Bishop's having a great time on the back 9. Looking for some inspirational chipping here on 15. Not his best.
But inspirational to everybody else. These players playing really quite magnificently in really tough conditions. Hard enough for able-bodied players, but for the likes of these chaps to maintain balance, it's so tough.
We all know history proves that this 17th hole at Royal Lytham has been a terror for the very best in the world. So for Chris Patterson to do that under mounting pressure, worthy of a round of applause.
Yeah, I'm sure it gets harder for the guys too as their fellow members of the team look on, try to will them on. Young now out of the sand here, also difficult. Wet sand, harder to control, ball will spin a little. Didn't get the grab, even coming back into the breeze there.
Now back on 14, this to halve the hole for Mike Brown. Didn't quite read enough into that putt, and so the match is all square.
Certainly getting tight as we go back to the 17th. Putt to win the hole for Patterson. Ooh, and he gave it a good scare, just under-borrowed a fraction. Good attempt though.
It was. Now back on 15. Ian Bishop has the luxury of 2 putts to win his 4th straight hole. That should do it. He's back on level terms after being 4 down. What a comeback.
And on 17th, Charles Young now has this putt to try and halve the hole. Oh, and he makes it, and you can see what that means to him. What a pressure putt that is for USA. They'll go to the 18th, all square.
Yes, Warren, this is on a knife edge with 3 of the 4 uncompleted singles now tied. But remember, as the cup holders, a draw would see GB retain the Ben Simpson Trophy.
What a battle it's been in this match between Patterson and Young, both players with similar putts on the 18th. Patterson for his birdie. All he can do now is to watch as Young has this to win for USA. And in the end, it'll be a match halved between these two fine players.
Great spirit, great competition. Simpson Cup ever-present Ian Bishop brings all of his experience to bear during his vital 2-1 comeback victory over Jesse Williamson. And there's timely accuracy from Mike Brown, who wins the 16th, only to lose the next, as the linchpin contest against Cole Polk goes the full distance in now pretty grim weather. After so many permutations, it is simple enough. Brown has to secure the 18th to win the match and thereby pull GB back onto level terms overall and retain the cup.
Greens are rounded by bunkers as Brown plays his second shot. And using the contours very well to bound that down towards the flag. Good pressure shot from GB.
Here is Polk as that wind whips across the golf course.
Seems to have played it well, tried to chip it on the front and let it run out, but it's just been a little bit too low, too hard and fast. He's left himself an enormous putt from the back of the green. This is very tight, Phil, very tight indeed. A lot of fingernails being bitten there on 18.
But just how all team competitions should end on that last hole.
Polk then putting back into the wind. Long putt here, needs to be very firm with this. He's given it a good belt. But is it enough? Well, that's a good 6, maybe 7 feet short.
And that means that Mike Brown has a putt for GB to retain the Simpson Cup.
I bet his heart rate is up, that's for sure. Big putt, struck it well. Again, just didn't quite allow enough break, so it's given the opportunity back to USA to try and take the trophy.
Yeah, take that trophy back across the Atlantic. All on this. Warren, agonisingly close.
Yes, in a way, shame it had to end like that, but you've just got to have huge respect for players on both sides here who've just given us a magnificent contest.
Indeed, in which the USA made the early running, but the hosts stoically rallied to dramatically record a tie. Naturally, Captain David Ward was mighty proud.
It's an amazing feeling, and to come back from 4-2 down as well, the lads have really dug deep. We'll invite the Americans out with us tonight to a local pub and we'll all sing together.
But before a few pints, there was a champagne moment as Team GB celebrated retaining the Simpson Cup.